Welcome to the 10-Minute Car Sales Talk Podcast, where it's all about life in the car business. Telling you like it is, here's the man with the plan, Terry Cameron.
Welcome back to another episode of the 10-Minute Car Sales Talk Podcast. I'm Terry Cameron. Before we get started on this episode, I want to really quickly remind you to please head over to the Apple Podcast and give me that 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, whatever rating you think I'm worth, and write me a review. That is what keeps me going. That's what keeps me wanting to do another episode and another episode after that. I love hearing from listeners. So please do that real quick. What we're going to talk about today is something that is very near and dear to my heart, and that's goal setting. Something that we have a really, really tough time doing. You know, December is my favorite time of the year. Not just because my wife buys me lots and lots of nice presents for Christmas, but because it's ending my year and I get to look back and figure out whether or not I hit my goals that I set for the year. And I have to say that this year I did. At least most of them. And I guess that's all we really can hope for. And I do know this, though. I tried to hit them all. We're getting ready to start another year. My 30th full year in the car business, which means I've started at zero 360 times. Man, that starts to wear on you a little bit. But what keeps me going is the game I play with myself in setting goals. I got tired of asking my salespeople, and by the way, I hope they are listening to this podcast because we're going to focus on this more than we ever have before. But I've asked salespeople in the past and I got tired of the answers. I asked them what is their goal. And usually I get the same answer, and that's I want to sell this amount of cars. I want to sell 12 cars this month. I want to sell 15 cars this month. I want to sell 125 cars this year. And all of that is fine and dandy, but they don't have a plan on how to do that. Now, I've read and I've reviewed so many different statistics and I've researched so much on goal setting. And there's so many different definitions of goal setting and what a goal is that I don't want to get into that because it just makes my brain hurt. But what I want you to do is try to think like me for once. And that should not be very hard to do. Think like me. I take goal setting and I put it into a challenge for myself. I want to make it fun. It's kind of like saving money. I get paid and I want to have this much money in the bank, and how much do I have to save each week, each month, each year to get there? And when I hit that goal, I just up it again. It's fun. I like doing that. It's stressful sometimes, but I can tell you that I would not be in this car business for this long if I didn't make it tough on myself. It should not be easy. There's a story that I read about a gentleman that watched a butterfly coming out of its cocoon for the first time. So it goes in there as a caterpillar, and it comes out as a butterfly. And he watched this butterfly struggle to get out of that cocoon. The hole was just too small for the butterfly to fit through. So what he did is he cut the hole a little bit bigger to help that butterfly get out. Made it easier for him. And sure enough, it did. It came out of the cocoon, fell straight to the ground, and as he stood there waiting for the wings to spread and for the butterfly to fly away, it never happened. The reason that hole was so small was because it was supposed to be tough for that butterfly to get out of there. That butterfly was coming out of that cocoon and going through that small hole. That small hole was going to squeeze all that extra water and juice and whatever else might be in it out of its body. So when it did come out of that hole, it wasn't so heavy and the wings would be strong enough to give them flight. So he made it easy. Well, and you know the rest of the story. A butterfly that can't fly, stays on the ground, probably doesn't last very long. Well, a salesperson and a sales manager that doesn't have to work really hard to hit the goal that they want is probably not going to make it very much longer. The goals aren't set to be easy. That's why the most successful people in the world are the very few that set goals and keep them. I took a Joe Verde class once, and I remember him asking me lots of questions But the thing that I remember the most is he kept asking me, am I ready? And of course I said yes. But after asking me 3 or 4 times, I had to wonder why he's asking me that many times. And I realized I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready mentally. I needed to get my head in the game. So let's talk about setting goals right now in December to get the year 2020 started right, and we have a very successful year. Let me tell you, when you do this, you enjoy it so much when you set your goals and you hit them. Even if you don't hit them, but you work hard enough and you get close, you feel a lot better. And I promise if you do it and you set those goals properly, you're going to sell more cars, you're going to make more money, and you're going to have a lot more fun than you did the year before. Some of the things that you have to do is, like I said, when I asked my salespeople, how you plan on getting there, most of the time it was, well, I'm going to make more phone calls. I'm going to talk to more people. I wish it were that simple. If it were, I would have made $500,000 every single year selling cars, beginning back in the early 90s. It's not that easy. So hopefully you've been listening to my podcast and you've been listening to other trainers. You need to start tracking things. You need to know what you need to work on to get to that number. You got to back into it. So if your goal is to sell 15 cars a month, well, how are you going to do it? And don't say make more phone calls. I want you to start, if you haven't already, tracking certain things. Number one, I want you tracking your opportunities. How many people do you have an opportunity to sell a car to each and every day? And by opportunities, I mean walk-ins, sales calls, internet leads, outside prospects, dealer leads, repeat customers, referrals, B-backs, whatever it may be that show up on the lot and give you an opportunity to sell them a car. You need to know that. You need to know how many opportunities you get. And then you need to track your activities. What are you doing with them? How many outgoing prospecting calls you're making? How many in-person prospecting in the service drive are you doing? What about your outgoing emails, texts, mailouts, and phone calls? What about your sold customer follow-up and retention contacts? Your unsold follow-up? Your demonstrations? Your write-ups, your appointments, and your appointments that show. You need to track those, and you need to know how many you get on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. Yeah, I know it could be a little monotonous and a little tough to remember it, but again, like I said, if it's important to you, you'll make time to do this. If it's not important to you, you'll make excuses why you didn't. And then last but not least are the results, which are the easy things to track. If you can track your opportunities and your activities, the results are what come of those. How many deliveries did you get? How much money did you earn? Did you make any bonus money? Did you reap any rewards or awards from your manufacturer? Guys, you need to know this stuff. You need to know how many people you need to talk to on a daily basis to hit your number. So this is what I mean by backing into it. If you want to sell 15 cars, deliver 15 cars a month, well, how many of them do you have to write up and actually submit into finance? I want you to think about that. If you want to deliver 15, how many do you have to actually get an application on? 20, 25? And if you need 20 or 25 applications, how many people are you going to have to present a figure to? Your Foursquare, your worksheet, whatever you want to call it. How many people do you have to actually present the figures to for them to say yes, for you to fill out the credit application, and then to get an opportunity to get financed? And when you figure that out, how many people do you actually have to do a demonstration drive with? A good quality feature, advantage, and benefit demonstration drive. You need to know how many. You need to know, if I do this many, I know this many will let me write them up. And then the very first thing is your opportunities. How many people do I need to talk to in the lot to be able to do this many demonstrations? So real quick, let's look at my recipe when I sold cars. I know I needed 60 cars or 60 opportunities a month. B-backs, referrals, whatever it may be. But I needed 60 people to talk to every month, which was 15 a week, which means 3 a day, which was very achievable. And if I did those 60, I was going to get 50 demos. I had to do it regardless whether or not I thought they could buy it or not. I had to give it 100% to 100% of the people 100% of the time. Of those demos, I knew those 50, I was going to get 50 demos. I was going to write up 40 to 45 of them every single month. I was going to submit 30 of them to finance because I got 30 of them, of those 40 to 45 to say, yes, I'll take it. And of those 30 that I submitted to finance, 20 of them purchased every single month. So that was a piece of cake. All I had to do was talk to 60 people every month and treat them all the same way. Now, I couldn't have done that if I wasn't tracking. So I want you guys to start tracking. If you don't know how, send me an email and I'll personally call you and I'll go over this with you. There's too much at stake not to set your goals. I love this time of year. I'm setting my goals right now for me and my sales force. We're going to hit them. Come hell or high water, we are going to hit our goals. And are we going to get upset with each other? Are we going to be disappointed a few times? Well, let's go ahead and agree to disagree and agree to get upset with each other and agree that we're going to fail a few times. But at the long end, at the end of the year, we'll look back and we'll say it was well worth it because now I'm able to buy that house I wanted. Now I can take my family on that vacation that I wanted to take them to. Now I can relax a little bit because I have some reserve, some emergency money in the bank. I love it when a plan comes together. I want you to start doing it now. Let's start thinking about our goal for the year 2020. And let's not wait till halfway through the year to start working on it. Guys, this is way too easy. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. Now, when I say easy, I'm talking you're not going to hurt your back. You're not going to get your fingernails dirty. But it is going to take some work. I want you to think about this. Now, call to action is to start right now. Start planning for it. Put that dream, put that goal, whatever you want to call it, on paper, and then give it to somebody. Show it to your manager. Show it to your general manager. If you're a manager, show it to the dealer. Say, this is what I'm going to do for you this year, boss, and this is what I'm going to get from it. Stick your neck out there. Make it known. Again, December is the time to set your goal for January. And when I talk to you guys all next December, I want to hear everybody say, we did it. Remember, success only comes before work in the dictionary. So let's get started right now. Asses and elbows. Let's get our mind thinking what we're going to do. Let's not make it easy. Let's make it achievable and realistic, but let's not make it easy. Guys, you guys really need to enjoy the rest of this year, and I wish each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Remember, the sky's the limit. I'll see you all next week.
Thanks for listening to this week's podcast. Please rate it on iTunes and visit the 10minutesalestalk.com website to send an email. We appreciate your valuable feedback, and don't forget to share the show with a friend.